May God be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. On the journey to Jerusalem, Jesus passed along the borders of Samaria and Galilee. As Jesus was entering a village, 10 people with leprosy met him. Keeping their distance, they raised their voices and said, "Jesus, Rabbi, have pity on us." When Jesus saw them, he responded, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." As they were going, they were healed. One of them, realizing what had happened, came back, praising God in a loud voice, then fell down at the feet of Jesus and spoke his praises. The individual was a Samaritan. Jesus replied, "Were not all 10 made whole? Where are the other 9? Was there no one to return and give thanks except this foreigner?" Then Jesus said to the Samaritan, "Stand up and go your way. Your faith has saved you." The good news of salvation. Please be seated. Good evening. Buenas noches. I want to first thank the steering committee and the liturgy committee for giving me this opportunity tonight. And I want to welcome everyone here, particularly I have some friends and family that have traveled from New Jersey and Staten Island and as far away as Brooklyn. Felicidades. This is a way that we say congratulations, literally means happiness in Spanish. And the reason I say felicidades this evening is because this weekend we're celebrating different events, different holidays, and commemorating different events that are happening. Today was the Hispanic Day Parade earlier today up on Fifth Avenue. We're celebrating Dia de la Raza, the day of the new race. We also are commemorating Solidarity Sunday. And those of you who have little ribbons, we're going to be saying the prayer later. It is also Indigenous Peoples Day and National Coming Out Day. Dia de la Raza, the day of the race or the day of the new race, marks the last few days of Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs from September 15 to October 15. These dates are significant because many of the national independence days of Latin American countries fall within this period. The reason that it's called Dia de la Raza is because it acknowledges that out of the troubled history of European colonization, various races came together, and from this emerged a new race with a new culture, customs, music, food, art, dance. The theme this year, 2022, of Hispanic Heritage Month is Unidos, United. inclusivity for a stronger nation. This theme resonates with Dignity New York's goal of being a more inclusive, welcoming, and diverse community. Let's take a moment to reflect on how broadly we must think about diversity. Diversity includes, but it's not limited to race, ethnicity, gender, gender identity, or gender expression, sexual orientation, age, socioeconomic class, physical ability, religious or ethical value system, national origin, and political beliefs. If we strive to be a community that welcomes diversity, how do we do that? We do that by opening our hearts and being not only accepting of others, but embracing and celebrating others. Opening our hearts is not always a simple process. We need to have an attitude of gratitude. We need to be able to perceive the value of the diversity around us and see it as a blessing. An attitude of gratitude helps us to see the blessings we have. It also opens our hearts to joy and hope, like it did to the Samaritan that we learned about in the gospel reading. And I'll repeat, when they were all walking to show themselves to the priest, one of them, realizing what had happened, came back praising God in a loud voice, fell down at the foot of Jesus and spoke his praises. This individual was a Samaritan, a foreigner. In general, blessings are very important in Latin America, in Latin American culture. We ask for a blessing from our parents, our grandparents, our godparents, our aunts and uncles when we enter and when we leave the home, or when we say hello to them. I mean, the first thing we'll say is hola, bendición. Bendición means blessing. We ask for that blessing. And in particular, in many Latin American countries, if the grandmother is present, if she's alive, she has the honor of giving the blessing. A lot of times, she blesses her children, her grandchildren, her godchildren, not only with words, but with her actions. She'll dip her hand in holy water, because she always has holy water. She has usually an altar, right? With holy water. That is very common throughout Latin America to have the home church, especially in rural communities where there wasn't churches. The churches were usually in towns and in cities, but if you lived in a farming community, usually there was not a church nearby. And in some countries, there was a distrust to the institutional church. So Catholicism was practiced in the home alone by reciting the rosary, having an altar, and these special blessings. Now, she would dip her hand in holy water, and she would put her hand on your forehead and make the sign of the cross. And sometimes the blessing was very simple. Sometimes it was simply saying, Dios te bendiga, God bless you. But other times it was much more elaborate. Que Dios te bendiga y te protege y la Virgen te favorece. Which means, may God bless you and protect you, and the Virgin Mary's favor be upon you. Sometimes it could be a lot longer, imploring the saints and the angels. And in particular, if you had to catch a bus, go to school, you were like, abuelita, abuelita, I have to go. But it was an honor and it was a beauty. I remember an experience with my father when I was a teenager. I didn't have a very good relationship with my father, but even if we had an argument during the day about something or a disagreement, every night he would say, first say in English, good night, and then say, Dios te bendiga. And I knew that no matter what, I was still his son. So no matter what disagreement or argument we had that day. So that blessing is very important for us. Now, it is similar to the blessing of Aaron and his descendants that we heard about in the first reading in the book of Numbers. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you, be gracious to you. May God turn God's face toward you and give you peace, or shalom, a wholeness, and wholeness of mind and body. One of my favorite authors is Sister Joyce Rupp, who's written a lot of books on prayer and spirituality. And she has a definition of blessing that I want to share with you. She says, anyone and anything that brings good or godness into our lives is a blessing. To bless is to bring the touch of God, the touch of love and goodness to another by our presence as well as by our actions. Blessings are a greeting from God saying, I care about you. I desire what will be for your good. You are dear to my heart. I want your life to be filled with love. But she also goes on to say that blessings are not always immediate. Sometimes these blessings come disguised in the pain, struggles, and hardships of the unwanted parts of our lives. It is only later, with hindsight, that we look and see what a gift those times and events were for us. Diversity is a blessing. Inclusivity activates that blessing. Remember, our theme for Hispanic Heritage Month this year is Unidos, United, inclusivity for a stronger nation. But let's say it another way. Unidos, united, inclusivity for a stronger Dignity New York. Here at Dignity, we embrace inclusivity and diversity by learning about each other's cultures and customs and including them in our liturgies. For example, those of us that were here last week, in honor of St. Francis of Assisi, the choir sang, "Make me an instrument of your peace" in Italian. And it was a blessing for all of us, whether we knew Italian or not. This evening, we will have another blessing when we sing our communion song, Pan de Vida, which is a Spanish-English bilingual hymn. These may seem like small gestures of inclusivity and diversity, but these small things can have a great impact on us emotionally and spiritually. That little rainbow ribbon that most of you have on, that you're wearing for Solidarity Sunday, celebrates the value and dignity of every human being, and we'll be reciting a prayer later. So, to conclude this reflection, I would like us to acknowledge the countries that are part of the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. I will recite a litany of 21 names of these nations, and the congregation, and all of us, the congregation, will respond with the word presente, which is Spanish for present. And when you say it as a prayer, as a blessing, because we will be offering this blessing of gratitude for the contributions that these countries have made for the further development of the United States. The simple word presente, which means present. Now, everybody say it. Presente. Presente. Argentina. Presente. Bolivia. Presente. Brazil. Presente. Chile. Presente. Colombia. Presente. Costa Rica. Presente. Cuba. Presente. República Dominicana. Presente. Ecuador. Presente. El Salvador. Presente. Guatemala. Presente. Honduras. Presente. México. Presente. Nicaragua. Panamá, Paraguay, Perú, Puerto Rico, Uruguay, Venezuela, España, Estados Unidos de América. May God bless us all. Bendiciones a todos. Amén.